if I hit stream there, okay, it instantaneously got the stream. Okay, anyway, then we are, what's the word? Starting, I guess. Is it starting? Yeah, yeah. Besides starting, it's also like, wait, true. Fix that. Thank you very much. Next thing is, yeah, post. This plus, I haven't really worked on, what's the word? On getting, what the hell is this? Live to URL? What? What? Whatever, brother. Also, this one doesn't have a dual transmission. I have no clue why. Whatever happens, probably, yeah, probably turn it off myself or something. So there we go. Discussion. That and the question is, where is just chatting. Also it lagged. What's up? It lagged. We lost 5,000 kilobytes. What's up with that, man? Part of the experience, yes. And close this. Next step is, I have no clue, man. Close everything, shut down the whole PC. Where did we lose? No, we didn't lose any frame. It was the internet speed. Amazing. I haven't forgotten all that at all. Next is, no. Give me the Twitch link, thank you. Warning, just 1 second. Content is intended for certain audiences. Cannot believe it. Amazing. Also, it sounds, yeah, it sounds to some degree weird, I guess. I wouldn't say weird exactly, but it's my voice. That's the only issue here. It has always been my voice. No, don't say it. No, it's really, I haven't listened to like many streams. You can feel it when you hear other streams. There is like this weird audio here where it has that sensation of somehow the audio itself is like distant for some reason. Why? Amazing question. I have no clue. Also, why did I write allegory with one L? Am I clever? No. Allegory. There we go. No. I only removed the tag. Add the tag. There we go. Done. There we go. What was I looking for? Yeah. Let me close everything else, I guess. We are good. And also, yeah. Why do we have a one always here? What? All broadcasts. Why are there like multiple broadcasts to begin with? Why does that happen? Huh? What? Whatever can happen. Settings, yeah. Settings, platforms. What is this? No. Settings, highlights, overlay. Overlay? overlay is the thing that we have on stream. No, okay, I shouldn't touch that anyways. Or no, at all. Okay, that's that. Next is this over here. Yes, oh no. It's I haven't thinking about it. You you wanna know what could be crazy to do? Like to install every single stream here. In which way? Amazing question. Basically by I don't know, have you ever seen those people who overextend their intro? Like not intro, but the actual important thing until like an hour. It will be crazy to do that. I don't think I have it on me to do it. Like, not only I do not like it, I also, yeah, I don't even have any plan to do it whatsoever. Imagine, we goal today is to talk about something. Imagine instead of talking about anything for the first entire hour, we play something and act like it never happened once we get to talk about the thing in itself. Wouldn't that be incredibly crazy? Like, what's the norm is something along the lines of basically the streamer. Mo- it's a general streamer culture thing, so it wouldn't be just secluded to us here in this scenario. The streamer always gets things set up so that they basically um, have that first hour for just chatting. Then they have the rest of the stream, so to speak, to do what they actually intended to do. Doing a sort of inversion on that whole method of, yeah, the first hour is playing something. Every other, yeah, the remainder of the stream basically will be the actual thing in itself that we want to do. In this case, I guess, I don't know, quote unquote, philosophical discussions and whatnot, you know? I think that will be, well, no, no, besides that, I guess, I wouldn't really, yeah, I wouldn't really try to do that, but that would be crazy to see, like, to some degree, you can already see something like that happening from people who just do, in itself, just chatting. You don't really have the need to switch up things, but why do it at all? I don't know, man. There is always that weird discussion of why it happens. The explanation is always something along the lines of, oh yeah, people slowly comes throughout the first hour, then they all gathered and whatever, man, whatever. The real point is, no, I don't like that myself, so we are not going to do that. Thank you very much. So, starting soon, starting it right now actually, because I don't have anything else to really say. Do I? That's the lingering sensation that I forgot something. Uh, Amazing. Perhaps I forgot something. Perhaps it doesn't matter. We're gonna trust that sensation anyway. Good morning. Just been an incredibly long while actually. Let me see. How long? Almost 10 days. Since 10 days? Let's say 7 days. Almost 7 days, yeah. I didn't expect it myself, but the point is that we're here today. And yeah, I'm happy to be here unavoidably. I am I am more than happy to be here, you know? And the real point is that yeah, I I will say I had I had an idea in itself. The reality is I already had something. I realized I didn't how do you even properly say it? Is it a realization? I don't think it falls under the realm of a realization or whatever. It's more along the lines of simply I was trying to think about it properly. Many okay, let's say like this. The preceding explanation always would be something like this. In this case, one of the many topics that has to do with the human existence itself has something to do with the in this the title. What the fuck is the title? Passions. So, without if we're talking about passions, trying to understand what are passions, and not I guess the basic distinction between carnal passion, as in desire, as in the more bias kind of interest that a human feels towards other humans is, that kind of passional affection, whatnot, and the other kind of creative passion, desire to do something, that kind of passion, that one that humans, I guess, for the longest time have been trying to actually capture in some way, and unavoidably, almost the existence of every single human being who, let's say like this, who possesses any kind of objective that they might be willing to work towards, it happens that they end up thinking about it in a way in which they try to figure out how to properly navigate the whole, not just topic or idea of possessing a passion in itself, but also the way in which they are capable of utilizing the thing in itself for which they have an interest. And when this happens, the issue is not just that we are capable of having an interest, but also that we have to sustain it. But also, in itself, the real problem arises once we're confronted with the necessity to actually make a sensible enough, understandable explanation, not just to ourselves, but also to what will be everyone else in a way. Even if you don't really need to do that, the whole aspect of because I can explain it hypothetically to other people, I can therefore clearly enough be capable of demonstrating to myself how I think about this thing. I can put it in words that if someone else were to ask me, I could give them in a way in which I can picture it, so that no matter who talks about this thing with me, they get to have a clear picture once the conversation is over, basically. And because this happens at a at the biggest scale of every single human being who possesses any kind of interest will be at some point interested in itself, in asking themselves out this and trying to figure out something that might or not give them a possibility to succeed or not, or whatever also. Um, just following that same trend, we end up here today, um, on that same place. Not really something revolutionary, I wouldn't say once again. It's not something that, oh well, only me has experienced. Every single human being at some point or another asks themselves, what am I actually passionate about? What is it that I am interested in doing? What, the eternal conversation, the eternal monologue that exists between the older areas that we get to pick up and those that we get to adapt into our personal perceptions, so that we can later on arrive at conclusions. And if it were to happen that we feel satisfied enough with what we are thinking, we end up writing them down, and at a later stage someone else picks up what we said ourselves plus all the previous references, so that it keeps on endlessly developing itself, that same process repeating itself here too. So yeah, that's, I would say so. Yeah, that's very much a basic explanation of how we ended up here. It's not really that surprising. Once you, once again, from what I see, I think every single person at some point thinks about it. It would be crazy to say, nah, yeah. Nobody truly has any passion. Nobody has any kind of interest or desire to think out these things at all. Most, if not all, people will at some point try to figure it out in a way in which they can later on make it work for themselves. The only quote unquote issue is to actually have a way in which you can confidently say that you have figured it out so that it works for you personally. But yeah, it's more than anything else. The so far developed notions, I guess, would something like that be what we're going to be talking about here. Yeah, I don't know. Any other context? Give me a second. Let me drink something while I try to think about it. Yeah, as I said, I think every single person at some point thinks are it's not really that surprising. It's the common topic you have in mind, and that's why I will say it's the endless search for everyone. Well, at the same time, if you want any kind of extra, more personal context, or not personal in terms of mine, but rather more contemporaneous context, let's say, something that has been noticed throughout time is the tendency amongst the ideologies that have been evolving since older days, so that nowadays in the present, most people end up in some way or another in, yeah, being a little bit more self-centered for the reasons, be it whatever, have led the human to actually focus a little bit more on the action of thinking about themselves. And thinking out, in this case, yeah, also the desires and the things that we want to do and whatnot. And I will say the issue with that is not really that something like that exists, but rather that in a conversation, it's not really an issue, but rather an interesting point to point out, basically. If the conversation has become a lot more self-centered, it is still surprising to see that despite that being the case, nowadays we are still incapable of actually having any clear enough response to the question of, okay, how do I have passion for things? How can I 100% know that I am going to be passionate about the things that I choose and not regret choosing something that I might be interested in doing and whatnot? And that whole discussion, the proper thing to say is, yeah, surprisingly enough, somehow in these current times, is still a puzzle that deserves to be analyzed and tried to be solved in a way. And yeah, basically that. The whole aspect of, despite everything that is happening nowadays, we are still incapable of having a clear enough answer for every single person in a way, or along the lines of somehow we truly cannot make a clear enough statement in a way in which we can say that it does feel like a clear enough universal answer which could somehow work for everyone. Yeah, basically that. So, now properly starting, I guess the more interesting part to always begin with in itself is really how do you even think about passions? We have already tried to plan it a little bit in terms of, yeah, you can say that a passion is the thing that you have chosen to dedicate yourself to, the thing that you are willing to pursue, besides the most basic carnal level of interests and whatnot. The passion in itself is what you can say drives you in some way and keeps you not just afloat, but also centered or oriented towards any one particular goal. The issue is, how do we actually know what it is? How can anyone actually have the capacity to claim that they possess a clear enough passion so that they are not lying to themselves? The eternal question of, do I even know if I have a passion, or if the thing that I am pursuing right now might look like a passion, but rather it's just a lie that I tell to myself to keep on pushing forward without actually having any goal in mind which I am willing to pursue, or any higher scale objective. Besides, you can find, I guess, in many other places, you can find more clear explanations, guidance of, yeah, these are the things that you should be passionate about, whichever it is. Also, what the fuck?
Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305, dialing today. I just want to tell you.
Que a mí me gusta la Pepsi. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome. Sailor, Milo, Alto, Sompion, welcome, everyone. I hope you had a great stream today I didn't get to catch it, so I have no clue what you were streaming, but I hope you had a good one. That's what matters. What the fuck? Can you sing Bad Bunny? No, I'm not going to sing some Bad Bunny. We are not Bad Bunny singers here. I know. No, wait, I know like the one song that he sung in the Samsung, in the, what is it, in the Super Bowl. The Debí tirarme a foto. That one, I know it, but we are not in karaoke. Okay, sing it. No, 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 no. Can you do some Gangnam Style? No, 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 no. We don't sing here. We don't sing. Not today, I guess. Someday it will happen. But no, wait. Let me do my thing. My thing? No, the thing. Shut up. True. Amazing. We are it. Also, what? What's your profile pic so sexy? I don't know, man. It isn't sexy. You find it sexy yourself. Maybe you just like people with thick lips, you know? Passion for Christ. Thank you. Also, no, wait. I have to riff. Amazing intro. No. I was saying, what was I saying? I wasn't really saying anything. I was saying something. Today, yeah, passion. We're talking about passion. We're talking about having passion. Do you have a passion? Do you have an interest for something? Do you find yourself oriented towards a goal? That is the question. Do we have anything that we want to accomplish in life? Are we interested in being someone? Something like that. That's the topic today, I guess. So yeah, write me an essay, 5,000 words or more, about how you want to be someone in life, and send it to my Discord inbox. No, sorry, no, don't. You can write it, I guess, but I don't know. What's airdrop it to me, something like that. No. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're actually talking about. I was monologuing. I lost myself. I was in somewhere around the area of, after the construction of the whole argument of how you try to define what. Yeah. How do you try to define what is a passion in itself? How do you try to understand what having a passion in any kind of sense is? The whole aspect of, okay, what can we even call a passion? Besides the aspect, the more basic sense of, okay, I am also. Shut up for a second. Didn't say what you were playing, but anyway, sorry for not saying anything. Hope you had a great stream. Thank you for the ride, and also if you have to rest, please do so. Excuse me for my bad manners. I am very scatterbrained in most senses, so yeah. But thank you. It is appreciated. Very much. Did he? Okay. Understandable. Understandable. Okay. Diddy Kong. That's different. That's like two different, completely different sentences. Okay. Syncoms. What? So you were what? Are you trolling, man? What? Isn't it? Diddy Kong isn't like the Nintendo character from the Daddy? Yeah. What's the Donkey Kong? The little monkey from Donkey Kong? The one with the red shirt, basically. That's the Kong. I remember. Wait, let me pull up an image. No. Wait. I said. Now we shall do it for the Kong. Diddy Racing. Yeah. It's the one with the cap. Give me 1 second. Copy image. Oh yes. Drop it here. Fuck! It doesn't. Where is the... Why is so hard to copy an image, brother? Okay, you have dragged a URL, yes. Entire PNC. There we go. This one. Exactly that one. Enough. Are you sure you want to remove this image? Indeed. Thank you. Bit is over. Bit is kill. No. But yeah, that one. That one is the one that I know. That is named the icon actually. But no, anyway. I don't know. If you want to, did you even finish the? What the fuck are you talking about? Why is there a random grab tab in the fucking chat from Stream Elements? What the fuck is that? I didn't set up that shit. What? Okay. I will have to get rid of that garbage. No, don't use GrabTab. No, use GrabTab. We love GrabTab in this house. No, don't do it. I'm not. I haven't done any GrabTab. I wanna see what games it has. So, anyway, point being, no. I was trying to talk about something. Sorry. It was so random. Why did I have a random grab tab inserted in my chat with my own link? What's up with that, man? I want a reimburse for the cash that I didn't spend on Stream Elements. Horrible experience. I was trying to say, but yeah, basically, passion. The thing that we can define as the thing that humans might want to. I am passionate. I don't know. I'm about drawing. You know, what's a good example? You might like drawing, so that's a passion. The difference. Okay, no, wait. I can see it coming. The difference between a passion and a vice is a passion is something that might lead to something quote unquote important. The vice is something that I don't know. Being vulgar with terms, you know, sucking your penis is a vice. So we do not call that a passion. Even if you're passionate about that, that's not a passion. That's just a vice. Okay. So a real passion is, I don't know, once again, drawing something. But I like to draw stuff that I later on utilize. It doesn't matter. As long as you do something quote unquote productive. Issue is, I guess, the real problem of what we call productive, because those are so, what the fuck are the subtitles? Okay, why do things disappear here? Why? I was trying to say, yeah, that passion. You have a passion when you do something that we societally define as in some way productive. In some ways, there is an issue always with passions, the sense of but I think that this is my passion, this is something that I want to pursue. Like general example always of I am passionate about music, I want to pursue a musical career, but that in itself might not be truly something that might be profitable until very late in the whole aspect of my pursuit of that goal, or unless I get incredibly lucky. That might be true, but at the same time that doesn't mean that it doesn't constitute a passion. There is, in itself, there is always a deeper discussion that we're not really analyzing here of, wow, what are the things that we constitute as passions, and what are the things that we rather classify as meaningless pursuits? Like, I don't know, a meaningless pursuit of most kids will be something like wanting to be an astronaut, you know? Not because it really is bad to want to be an astronaut, but because you know that most kids, once they grow up, they will change their pursuits. They will not really want to be an astronaut. Nobody here is right now actively working towards becoming an astronaut, you know? We all at some point probably said, yeah, Mommy, I want to become an astronaut, but we didn't. So, as with that already, there is a distinction that deserves to be made in that sense, but at the same time, when you look at the world of the grown-up people, quote unquote, you find out that sometimes we have passions, sometimes we have things that we want to do, that we want to accomplish and whatnot, that might not truly be just basic passions or whatever, or meaningless pursuits rather. And that is in itself something that I guess so far the only thing that I get to say convincedly enough about it is more often than not, the real distinction lies more in the whole aspect of can I truly defend my position? Can I truly say that I want to do this thing or not? That is the whole distinction between a passion and something that isn't one. Can I truly keep doing this no matter how much I waste my life? As in, somebody comes from the outside and tells me that, I don't know, doing this thing is completely meaningless. And I can still, despite having that conversation with someone else, keep on doing it. Once again, there are more distinctions inside of that. Sometimes a passion can also be unavoidably something negative, like, I don't know, I said it before, I tried to set the standard in, okay, you have a passion for something that might lead to something we might not call the basic enough example is surfing. It is not really a passion, it's more a vice. Same thing with consuming drugs, same thing with playing video games, even to some degree can be called something like that, or consuming content, for example, more generalized term. The basic consumption of things is in itself more of a vice than a passion. Yeah, yeah. It's the issue is we have those things that for some people can actually be completely a passion. Like I don't know, I can be passionate about collecting things. Like what's the whole example? I want to have a collection of I don't know Legos. People like to collect Legos as many examples of I don't know video games. Whatever. Point is, people can be passionate about many things, and when you try to analyze it, it becomes way more of a: is this truly the thing that we are calling a bad passion? How do we understand what is good and what is bad? It's a very gray area in many ways. The issue is also this is more of a recent issue, not something that always happened, but with the accessibility of social medias, it has become far more possible for people to profit of the passions that they had in secret, so to speak, and not in the darkest sense of yeah, people who likes to watch illegal content, but rather people who will have never gotten attention otherwise because they once again collect incredibly niche stuff like games from the Nintendo 64 or whatnot. It is possible nowadays to accomplish a lot more thanks to technology, I guess. But yeah, the point is, it's a difficult distinction. The point is being capable of understanding in itself what is a passion simply lies on okay, can I keep doing this? Can I see myself doing it until I die? Is this something that I will do until my last day? And in that sense, yeah, that's also why it's a difficult definition to say some things are not really a passion, because in the end, unavoidably, some problematic attitudes and some troublesome addictions can fall under that category also. But trying to ignore that elephant in the room, I guess, we just say that, yeah, in itself, the point is, people can say that they have passions about things, And the point is understanding that the capacity to have one lies within every single human being. It isn't really that much of an impossibility. It's one of the fundamental things that at some point I haven't really understood where exactly it happened, but at some point in history it became a norm, a normalized thing, basically, to say, yeah, humans in themselves lack any orientation towards goals and whatnot. The issue with that whole mentality is that it serves, in the way in which I see, more than anything else, as a lie than an actual truth in the way in which we experience the world. In many cases, people possess different things that they might be capable of doing in some way or another, but the issue is to have enough willingness to admit that we are interested in doing these things and to be in themselves not only capable of admitting to it, but also interested in actually making sure that this thing leads to something else. One of the most basic manners in which you can see the whole argument is something along the lines of, sometimes passions in themselves do not really need to arise from years of introspection of, oh yeah, but I am such a complex human being. Sometimes they can really appear just from the interesting one basic question: what do I want to do today? And what am I willing to do today? And from the discovery of that answer, then everything else comes forward. The issue is having the capacity to even answer the question in an honest manner, in saying, yeah, this is truly the thing that I'm going to be happy with doing the most. That's why I try to make that distinction. Sometimes there are things that feel good to do in the moment, but which later on don't really give that much satisfaction. Like I don't know, gross examples, yeah, will be stuff like, once again, we come back to the whole sorting it, the whole aspect of, yeah, once you are hit by the post-nut clarity, you realize that maybe you shouldn't have done it. And unavoidably, even worse than that are any kind of drugs. The moment in which you come down from the high and you say, what the fuck have I done? Why did I consume these things? Why did I spend? Why did I have lost so much money? Stuff of that sort exists as a good comparison to later on try to understand that, yeah, there are some things that we might be willing to do, which we later on do not truly feel good about. It's a basic enough realization, truly. The whole aspect of, yeah, I have things that I want to do, that if I do them right now, like, I don't know, even with something not so vile, so to speak, I want to play a game. You can play something good, like something entertaining, from any kind of standard, so to speak. You can play something like Celeste, in which you find yourself challenged, or you can say, yeah, you know what, today I will queue up for another League of Legends game, and after 50 minutes from one, you will be just mentally exhausted, because it might as well be a demanding experience, and on the other one, you will not just be exhausted, but also will be angry, because in reality, there is also the whole aspect of, yeah, this thing is truly something that, while I could have enjoyed it, in reality, it didn't really feel like such an enjoyable thing, because all the other contributing factors made it not be such a thing that I liked. And even if I am passionate about this thing, I can realize also that while having spent my time doing it, I didn't really have that much of a good time. The whole aspect of I don't think it's that much of a complicated notion, but yeah, the whole aspect of, I have some things that I might say I want to do, which I don't really enjoy doing, but I haven't found out anything else that I might be interested in doing, which isn't these already known things. The whole saying of it's the known devil is better than the ones that you have to meet, that you have to yet meet, something like that. The whole aspect of I will rather stick with this thing that I know I don't enjoy than to risk my possible experiences in the future by going out there and seeing out anything new. The whole way in which we set up ourselves for, in a way, yeah, the proper word is always suffering in this case. I have a passion that I do not really like, therefore I find myself having a bad time, therefore unavoidably, if I am having a bad time, I might as well be suffering, because I chose something that I do not like, that I will have rather not done at all, because I do not think it was that meaningful. And I also suffer by the whole notion of I might have the possibility of changing into something else, but in the process I might feel enough despair to justify not doing it. Therefore I give myself suffering in the present and the future too, and I remove wholly the possibility of having an even better time in the future, because there is a chance for me to not have at all a good time, which I do not really even know if it exists or not, but I just assume that it does, and I try to rationalize it in a way in which I truly believe that there is nothing else to gain if I try to change my habits, if I try to, what I was saying before, if I try to admit that maybe the thing that I am passionate about right now is not truly something that I am willing to do every single day of my life. Tomorrow, I want to wake up willing to play something like League of Legends. Tomorrow, I want to wake up willing to circuit. Tomorrow, I want to wake up willing to, I don't know, shoot heroin into my veins, that kind of stuff. Tomorrow, things might be harmful to me, but I might not be willing to try to find out something else. What will be the best thing that comes after this thing that I already have right now that feels good enough? If I have the sensation that this thing in the present that I believe I am passionate about is meaningful enough, how can I identify something new? That is the question that comes after the whole aspect of, yeah, do I have a passion? Is this the thing that I'm actually passionate about? And that is, I guess, the step in which I feel like I have seen most people stuck at the whole aspect of, yeah, I don't really know if this is the thing that I like. I am not willing to admit that it isn't, because it might be something bad to say that, but I can at least say that I don't have a bad time doing this right now. That's good enough already. And that's the thing that I end up settling with. I not in itself have, it's not about having the best. I am not really having a good time at all. But in comparison to having a horrible time, I'm not having that, so then it must mean that I'm having a nice time in itself. But I haven't beaten the same chorus for the last 10 minutes already. Let me drink some water, and after that I move on. Yeah, I have this thing that I want to. I can identify. Then we assume that at some point it comes the moment of honesty with oneself. It doesn't really matter, I guess, to be capable of saying to others or not. If you truly are passionate about this one thing instead of this other one, it doesn't really matter. The point in itself is, can I see what I truly want to do? Can I give myself the possibility of doing it or not? Basic enough question. Once that thing happens, and once the personal admission is the word is performed, yeah, the opportunity opens up for pursuing that thing in itself. The thing that one believes that they're the most passionate about. I feel like it is way too much of a rhetoric from a different place, but I do not find better words to illustrate that. So, we'll have to go with this explanation. After that, after the whole aspect of I have figured out what I wanted to comes to phase in which it becomes a trial. You say, okay, random example. You say that you're willing to try to pursue a career in, I don't know, engineering or, yeah, in construction, in whatever it is. Time to try it out. Time to actually put to test your willingness to do that thing. It shouldn't be that much of a surprise without it that, oh wow, I say that, I don't know. Going back to the whole example of video games, for example, I am willing to make my passion for something like League of Legends bloom into something actually meaningful. Therefore, I might try to pursue a professional career. So, what that means is not just that, oh wow, I have this goal. There is a fucking lot of work to do towards the secural of the goal, which is mentally portrayed at some point. The instance through which one has to realize, as in make it happen, the things that they want, so that in itself the passion can be later on sustained in one hand, and in the other, the whole conversion of, okay, I said that I am willing to do this thing, but I say that I am willing to do this thing. I think that I am willing to do anything. Doing it in itself is something completely different. I think that I am willing to study a career for the next 4 years of my life. Doing it, actually, being capable of going through the whole process of learning about things, acquiring not just knowledge, but also unnecessary pieces of information just for the sake of obtaining something like a title and performing and such is completely different from saying that I'm actually willing to do that. And my passion is my notion in itself of a passion, rather, is tested against the reality that the expression of my passion gives me. The thing that I say that I want, in reality, comes and shows itself to me so that I have to work towards either obtaining that or admitting once again that I might have been wrong about that. And the issue is, once again I said that it might happen that eternally we are in the whole cycle of, yeah, you know what, I am not passionate about this thing, and either I can admit that, or I will move to a new thing, to a newer, better form of a quote-unquote passion, just to once again find myself stuck in the whole cycle of, oh wow, am I actually interested in this thing? No. Then time to move on to something else. So, it's just, I haven't really given any formal explanation, but if you want something like that, in the first phase, you have the whole aspect of simply recognizing, trying to admit that there is a passion for anything. The second one is the trial and error of, yeah, are you actually willing to do that? And it's incredibly easy to see people stuck in both of those two. I guess, to keep it short enough, yeah, the final stage unavoidably is the aspect of, I am actually willing to do this thing. I am actually to, once again, spend enough of my time doing this thing. Caveat here, once again, going back to what I said, Meaning that I'm willing to do this thing. I am passionate about something that I truly feel is useful for me. I am not utilizing my life something that I realized a long time ago already that is harmful for myself, that I hear enough repeated throughout the connections that I have established with others, and that I see is commonly called an incredibly harmful thing. I am, once again, the passion that I possess is not something that socially everyone else points and claims is a horrible thing, a horrendous thing. And I myself can also realize that I am to some degree harming my own self when pursuing this thing, which is not at all truly the whole definition of a proper passion, the passion of the goal which feels good to actually accomplish, but rather of the whole punishment of, yeah, I cannot really believe that I want to pursue anything of a higher degree, so I will instead settle down with this thing that even if it harms me, it might as well not harm me as much as not having nothing at all, so I will keep sticking with this thing that is harmful in its very nature, but that at the very least fills the void of not having any passion at all. So, moving on, continuing. Having a passion constitutes then understanding that aspect of, yeah, I have something that I want to do, and I can keep on working towards that, and I can make sure that I'm working towards whatever, doesn't matter what it is, something. The eternal question is, okay, how do I know that the passion that I have right now, once it is something true, will remain there? The whole aspect of, today I woke up wanting to do this. How do I know that tomorrow I will wake up wanting to do this, and that this isn't going to disappear? There is something wonderful in the whole internal discourse of the present, so to speak, in which the norm has become to endlessly doubt the things that we like for the sake of trying to. The excuse is analyze and be capable of clarifying to ourselves if the things that we say that we like are truly the things that we like. To some degrees, it's rather an obsession with trying to prove wrong what we stated yesterday that we liked. So, in some cases, it's actually harmful to be endlessly saying, yeah, no, is this truly what I want? Is this truly the thing that I chose? Is this, I look out there, is this really what I myself want to do when I look at others and I see that they are so much happier, or at least they appear to be so much more content with their existence than what I get to be? In one of the wonderful things that this world presents is the illusion of self-centeredness in a way, while at the same time bombarding everyone so much with the incessant existence of those things that are aimed towards the detriment of the self-image, in a way in which, once again, going back to the example, we keep on trying to understand if what we have for ourselves is truly what we want and what we say that we like, or if we are rather settling down for something that doesn't truly suffice or humanity, so to speak, or whole essence, because it doesn't deserve to be in that place, but we have just settled down instead, and in the eternal comparison that becomes possible with the, it's not just about, you look at social media, you can just, by being a social creature in itself nowadays, it becomes far more possible to observe enough simply that, sometimes people seem to have things better, but that is a different kind of thing. The whole aspect of the image that we project outwards and the things that we are capable of presenting to others and whatnot. Sometimes I might believe that others might be having a much better time than what they truly are, and sometimes it's not because the image that they are showing is something that I completely misunderstand, but rather simply enough because I am not capable of realizing that, yes, sometimes it also happens that people are capable of lying, and surprisingly enough, somebody can tell me that they are doing good, even if they want to fucking kill themselves. Unsurprisingly, as it has happened 1,000 times, as it will keep happening throughout existence. Indeed, some people are capable of lying enough, and sometimes interactions are so brief enough that in those instances, in those brief moments, it can give off the illusion that they're having a much better time than me. Therefore, if I do not learn to observe something of that sort, I cannot even realize that, yeah, indeed, they might not truly be having something that they are truly passionate about. They might not be having something that they truly want to do themselves. And they are just aimlessly wandering still. But I need to also learn to pick up on those things, and I need to give myself the opportunity to actually see if such things happen at all or not. I might, the whole illusion of, that might not be happening to me. The people that I have around me might somehow be different, and somehow nobody ever lied to me out how happy they are with the things that they have right now around them. Most of the time. In some precious enough cases, it can actually happen to be surrounded by those kind of people, but it doesn't innately happen. Most, you want a percentage to try to picture that in some way. 99% of the human population doesn't have the capacity to be pursuing the things that they want. And most of the time, it doesn't even have to do with the unavailability of their passions, but rather, once again, what I said before, the unwillingness to admit that what I chose to do right now is not the thing that I truly want to be doing in this very moment. How the fuck can I admit to myself that what I am doing right now is an incredibly horrible waste of my time if I have already sunk so much time? You eternally hear out that whole concept, the whole sunk cost fallacy and whatnot. I become attached to the thing that I have done for decades and whatnot. Therefore, I cannot abandon the ship. So I would rather go down with that, even if that, in this very same case, costs my life. But yeah, point is, at some point, the humans should be capable of realizing what they truly want, what they truly are willing, interested in doing, and whatnot. Once that happens, then it shouldn't be so much of a mysterious question, of a difficult question in itself. I can realize what I am willing to do. I can identify what are those things that I am trying to actually accomplish, and I have decided not just to test it, but to commit to it once I have survived long enough in the whole process of trial and error. And I have realized, I guess that's the next part. Sometimes, yeah, something difficult to admit is unavoidably things don't will feel good. That's complicated to actually understand in itself, because one of the, at least in the way I feel it right now, is one of the best sedative notions to possess is, if you have found your passion, no matter how horrible of a time others might be seeing from outside that you are having, you in yourself will be having a wonderful time. And in reality, sometimes, yeah, unavoidably things will feel bad. Unavoidably, something wonderful about that whole aspect of having a passion, so to speak, is it doesn't solve your whole life, sadly. So stuff keeps happening outside of your control. Some other things keep on occurring, no matter what you do with your passions or not. sometimes, no matter how much you have something that you fully, completely, passionately love, no matter what you have, it can happen that, yeah, you find out that I don't feel that good. These other situations don't allow me to do the thing that I love, that I know that I love to do, to the whole extent of its capabilities, of my capacities, and it's yet another difficult layer of the whole aspect of, do I have something that I am truly passionate about? In that way, because it also opens again the possibility for that very same eternal doubt of, maybe I am not truly interested in what I like. Maybe I am not truly passionate in this thing, because the promise that comes from the outside is that supposedly I am going to be pursuing something of a different sort that will every single day of my life make me feel happy, that will paint every single day with all the brightest colors and give me hope so that I never despair and find myself with the soul of a child waking up completely invigorated, happy, and willing to live life to its utmost without any reserve whatsoever, because I know that the thing that I am doing is the best one to do, and that there is nothing to spare because I am happy. No. Sadly, once again, it has to do something with the whole aspect of, I need to actually settle down a little bit more in terms of the thing that I like can be interrupted by other things. Tomorrow, my day in itself can be wonderful, but the sudden, unexpected event that puts me into a fucking coma can completely put a hold into what I was doing, what I was pursuing, whatever I was interested in doing, you know? And that's something actually difficult to imagine, the whole aspect of, sometimes I don't want to truly think that it might happen to me, because it shouldn't happen to me at all. Why would it be my case that I'm going to be suffering in any kind of way? Why would it be to me that some negative thing happened, that the passion that I had couldn't be continued whatsoever? And that's the difficult aspect of trying to discuss passions in a more quote-unquote mature way, because the normalized thing is that, yeah, somehow we shouldn't have any actual reason to stop. We shouldn't find things that hold or progress, so to speak. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be the norm, or it shouldn't be our case. If it were to happen, it wouldn't be to us that it happened. But in itself, yeah, in a very similar way, I wouldn't say final at all, yeah. The acceptance that resides with having understood what the current passion that one gets to possess is, the thing that I'm doing right now will feel good for as long as it does, and the day that it finally disappears, I also might need to be willing to admit that it did before I hurt myself over the act of not at all saying that it did, and prolonging something that doesn't need to continue or any further, because it's the same thing that I said. I know that there are some other things that I can try out already out there that might feel better if tomorrow the thing that I feel passionate about for today stops beating inside of me, so to speak. If my heart doesn't anymore flutter when I think about this beautiful endeavor that I decided to pursue, if this beautiful notion that I have been working on for so long has finally run its course dry, I can say cheerfully enough, with enough honesty that yeah, that's it, and that I shall embark on yet another journey to keep on finding something else. But that eternal, that is that that's the notion that I was circling basically. The whole aspect of oh no, yeah, you will have only one fucking passion in your whole life. It's incredibly depressing to think like that. It's to some degree. It doesn't come out of nowhere. If you're going to do something, at least you should focus on doing it right. But the whole pursuit of devotion in itself, we ended up going around the whole way so that now we think that it is impossible for us to have more than just one object of desire, so to speak, in our whole existence. It's impossible for anyone to wake up tomorrow and say, I changed my mind, I don't want to keep on doing this. I changed my mind, I don't want to believe that there might be something else. I realized that I am tired from this. I realized, best case scenario, I did everything that I could, and I accomplished all the things that this passion of mine right now entails. I cannot keep being in this place because there is nothing else to do. Simple enough. And that whole notion becomes inconceivable in the whole aspect or in the whole ideal of yeah, you will only have one thing that you want in your life, and that's it. You will serve as a vessel of only one meaningful endeavor in your whole existence. Then you will live the rest of it as an empty husk of an already rotten soul who has nothing else to give to this world. Sadly, that's not the case. Sadly, it's more about first principle that I sort of gave, yeah. It comes the time yet again for thinking out what I said that I liked to do and realizing that I am fucking tired of this, man, and I give up on this, and I shall move on for the sake of once again feeling good. Simple as that. Or I haven't sort of avoiding it, not directly, but rather because it is way too much of a complicated notion. But it doesn't mean that I haven't been avoiding it, yeah. There is a distinction between the different sets of passions, so to speak, because you can on one hand have the thing that you can realize you like, and on the other one you can have those things that you get told you should like. The whole, it's the notion in its most basic form is sometimes it's yeah, not really sometimes. Most of our lives we are told that we should like things because that is the norm, the normalized desires, so to speak, and the normalized tastes for every single human being. It should be fine for you to want to do something good for the whole of humanity. It should be fine for you to try to be something like, I don't know, you insert this stereotype, you get what I'm saying. If you are born into this family, it is good for you to be a doctor. If you are born into this other family, it is good to be a lawyer, to be a medic, to be whatever kind of profession. You understand what I'm saying? In its most basic form, the whole normative notions of yeah, these are the desires that you should have. There is a higher aspect, and even more so, accordingly to yeah, according to philosophy, the whole aspect of the things that I can realize I might need to want to pursue. I might need to cultivate the desire of, which in some cases I do not possess by the mere nature of existing by myself, but rather that I need to understand. Like, for example, the whole eternal debate of, are humans ethical by nature? Is a children ethical since the moment that it is born or not? Stuff of that sort, that you need to be educated and you need to be civilized to function inside of the current world which you inhabit and whatnot. And furthermore, those even more complex notions like you need to be capacitated to perform as a proper adult in the living world and such things. This from the aspect of passions aligns more with the aspect of in itself the desires, the passions that you might find out, that you might be willing to pursue, that you have reached the understanding of, that you might want to go for, that might not seem. It's a more complicated notion in itself. I do not want to entail it only into the, this only happens inside of philosophy. No, this only happens inside of the minds of those who can dedicate themselves to thinking about any kind of objective that they are willing to pursue for long enough times. That's a more accurate description, because you can find that in things like quote-unquote basic relations, the person who dedicates their whole life to the pursuit of, it was given as a song, but yeah, I have passion for Christ, I have passion for Christianity, for being a good Christian, a good Samaritan, a good exemplary civilian, for being somebody who influences the world and whatnot. Those things that you can situate into the position of a passion only after having deeply deliberated about the thing that you want, and that is in itself a category of its own, because in some cases it is found also colliding with the other universe of, there are things, I said before, there are things that might look like passions, which might not truly be, because they end up harming you in the long run. There are also passions of this very same kind, which you can only reach after having meditated a lot on the matter, which might be incredibly harmful to pursue, even if you feel good about them, because everything else pushes against you. Like, I think it isn't really that much of a crazy example. Stuff like Gandhi, who had the desire, the passion to try to unite something like India. It's once you get to analyze examples of that sort, once you see, okay, people who care for, dedicated themselves to those kind of movements might in some way try to illustrate what it means to have passions of that sort. Oh, more basic, trying to not go to something that not everyone might know. Unavoidably, something like fucking Christ itself might be the best example. Somebody who literally got killed because they were way too passionate about something that no one else was willing to say was fine to actually pursue. Stuff of that sort does exist in different areas and can be a possibility, but I guess the issue, actually, sorry, that was my table. The issue with having something of that sort is understanding in which way can one actually say something that truly plays the role of a proper person and not a rather an inserted pursuit of something that's outside this course inserted into myself, so to speak. I got told that it was fine enough to be a good enough civilian. Therefore, I dedicated my whole life to be a good enough civilian. Not because I truly felt like it was my destiny, so to speak, to be a good enough civilian, but rather because I couldn't conceive any other reality in which I wasn't a good enough civilian. So that's the whole discussion that doesn't just need to happen, but that sometimes cannot even properly go on when it comes to, yeah, am I actually passionate about this stuff? Or am I just having something that I am pursuing be inserted by others? That's the whole complicated aspect of, yeah. There are some higher level of passions, if you want to classify them as such, in which you sacrifice yourself for a higher cause. Like, I don't know. What is another example, man? It's a more well-known example nowadays. The people who participated in the whole Project Manhattan, at this point they are well enough known so that you understand, in the end, they were very passionate about something that ended up bringing a lot of harm to their persons because they worked on something that was utterly harmful for the whole of the world. But by doing so, they were capable of developing something that also contributed enough things to the whole of this planet so that it created something meaningful enough. The situation is, sometimes it's difficult to be capable of understanding if the thing that you say that you want to do at those higher levels, quote unquote, truly has that role or is something that only creates negative consequences. In a more abstract manner, when you try to think about passions and you have to insert the whole topic of, wow, this is something that I want to do, that I want to pursue in some way, but at the same time, I also can keep in the back of my mind the whole notion of the road to hell is paved with bad intentions, basically. The thing that I might be pursuing, that I tell to myself is good, might actually be horrible in the end. Because I keep constantly thinking about such things, I might forget, or I might completely miss on the opportunity of realizing that what I am truly doing is in itself truly good. It's, so to speak, an even more complicated version of, yeah, is this truly something that I am passionate about? Is this, in this case, is this truly something that I should be passionate about? That I have the right to be passionate about the whole aspect of the question of morality, so to speak. If let's say like this, it's the only, I guess, good example that I can give. No, I have a better one, yeah. I can learn how to drive, but in the process of doing so, I might kill somebody because I know how to drive, and I don't want to harm any human being. But I need sometimes to be willing to put into quote unquote risk things of that sort, because I also want to accept that I might gain more if I am actually capable of accomplishing what I want. The whole aspect of sometimes in this universe, so to speak, one of the most wonderful things that happens is we are negated from accomplishing our passions, not because they do not exist in themselves, but rather because we can bias ourselves more towards the negative aspects of pursuing what we might want to have in our lives. Once again, I might want to learn how to drive. I don't want to kill anybody, much less I don't want to kill myself by choosing to drive. So I will instead never in my whole life pick up the knowledge of how to drive, dedicate myself to learn how to drive, and such things. And by doing so, I can ensure that I do not do something bad without realizing that in the end also, to some degree, I am passionate about this thing. But I cannot truly say that, because to say that I will have to also admit that I am robbing myself out of the possibility of enjoying the thing which I want to enjoy, the thing which I am actually passionate about. Because there is that other layer of fear, the whole aspect of I can convince myself that what I want is not something that I should really want, because I can see that there might be some negative consequences to it, like this is incredibly dangerous terrain, but I can see the possibility of enjoying, let's say something like this. This is an incredibly weird example, but my passion is to live as a human being, and if I am suffering from something like cancer, and I have the possibility of undergo treatment, I might not want to put myself under the pressure and the pain of the whole treatment in itself, because I can also see that it could bring me not just pain, but also not ensure that I survive. So I instead choose to let myself die, instead of accepting that, yeah, to some degree, I want to survive. And I want to, in some cases, go through the whole procedure, at least to give it a try. The whole aspect of sometimes I have passions that I should be willing to say I died for in the final analysis of some things. The controversial aspect of, yeah, indeed, some things are actually worth trying, even if they lead to your demise, so to speak. The whole aspect of what, societally speaking, we are not truly willing to talk about, because sometimes it's difficult to say, yeah, there are some things in their final form that people can realize they want to do, but at the same time, it's sort of bad to tell others, you should throw your life to pursue the thing that you truly know you love. You have passion for something. There is nothing better than to do the thing that you know you love, that you can understand you do want to have. Because somehow that is worse than having an unstable, yet incredibly not boring, painful life. The whole aspect of the routine that slowly kills the spirit, that we somehow have become incapable of speaking about anymore nowadays. That, yeah, at some point it deserves to happen, you know? In some cases, there are some things of that sort that are difficult to mention. Yeah, there are some passions that people should try to pursue, but to say so out loud will constitute a transgression on everything else that, societally speaking, we have established as the norm of, no, yeah, you already have an stable enough, so you shouldn't throw that aboard. You have on a stable enough house, income, you will have a family. Why would you throw those things off for the sake of pursuing your passion? You have, in my eyes, you have everything that I want from my life in yours. Why should you not pursue that thing which I say that I like in your existence? What I explained before, I impose onto you the things that I believe are good to want, and I convince you that it is bad for you to change your mind about them. And sometimes it happens so insistently, so recurrently, that in the end, unavoidably, the person who suffers that sort of transgression is the one who ends up negated the most the possibility of actually enjoying their real passion. And that's, I guess, it has been sort of circled around the answer. Yeah, unavoidably, that shouldn't happen. It should be the best outcome to actually be capable of admitting, yeah, I might want something else that I actually enjoy. Not to live a bland existence, which the day in which I die, I say I didn't enjoy, you know? Not because life is only about having pleasure, thriving in the satisfaction that you gain from doing the most lustful thing or whatever, or the most neurologically stimulating possible outcome, no, possible choice out of every single one that presents itself in your life, no. But rather because indeed it's somewhat nice to admit that I want to actually say that I died without as many regrets, if possible. The whole aspect of, yeah, sometimes I don't want to actually die and look back and say that this was horrible, man. No, that whole discussion, I guess. No. I have no more water, so I have no clue. I guess. It's not everything, really. It's something complicated to talk about. That's why I feel like that, yeah, but in the end, it's the endless discussion of, yeah, can you really say everything about passions? No. Impossible enough. We are eternally in the search for an answer to the question of, okay, can I ever realize, understand, admit what I am passionate about, be capable of uncovering what are my true passions and what not. It's, in some ways, it's necessary for every single human being to be capable of going through the journey of discovering that by themselves. But it all begins with the admission of, I want to be capable of understanding what my personal passion is, and before that, of realizing that I was already, or perhaps doing something that I didn't constitute myself as a passion, but that I accepted as a passion from the outside, because that was an easier choice than to actually pick up something by myself. And that also in the process of doing so, I am going to arrive to a good conclusion. I'm not going to take a bad choice which will lead me to my own demise. There are way too many admissions to do that normally when you try to talk about the whole topic of, oh yeah, what do I want to do with myself and what not, you hear are not only impossible, but even if you do make those admissions, you would be wrong unavoidably. What? You cannot ever know what you truly are passionate about. How will you ever know what you want to do with your life? How will you ever know if what you chose to do today was the right thing or not? How can you be so sure? How can you be so full of yourself to believe that right now, in this very moment, you are doing what you truly like, and not once again, even more than yesterday, you are just lying to yourself, pursuing something completely fake because you are not willing to admit that you liked something else entirely. It's the whole aspect of I needed to be capable of actually settling down with what I want. Once I try to discover what I want, the possibility of choosing is so overwhelming that it feels far more satisfying to never admit to any one interest, because in the process of doing so, unavoidably I admit that all the other passions that I could be pursuing are less meaningful than the one that I am actually going for right now. And in the desire to not be wrong, I might as well not admit to something like that, because if I were to do so, I would have to also admit that I might have already been wrong before. What? To some degree, what I already stated, in that sense of, yeah. I, I will keep on doing something that I don't want, because I cannot admit that I do not really like that. I don't know, man. I guess I should take a break. That's all that I guess I should probably get some water and reorganize my thoughts, see what else I am missing in this formula. I know I'm missing something, but give me a second. Thank you. Yeah, and after this tiny break, we will be back, I guess. Um, but no, yeah, give me one tiny instant, I guess. How much? Like 1 minute or two, probably. I will go get some water. That's get some water and get probably some candy, I guess. Something like that. I don't know. I I guess so. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There is okay. I can already see what I am missing. Yeah. Give me a second. We still have more to say. Also, can you mute yourself, brother? Yeah. Sorry. Uh, wow, dang. Yeah, what's up? I um yeah I should actually calm down. I wish I give me another second. Fuck. Okay. No, it didn't really work, but uh, it it's something anyways. Point is, we are back. Yeah, I tried to keep on thinking about it, and yeah, I said before there are some things that I did miss that I guess take some priority amongst everything else that we have said. So, finally, first important question is, what the fuck are we actually talking about passions? How come we as grown-ups have to even try to believe in passions? Aren't we people who live in the adult world? How come you can say that you are following your passion, you fucking childish person? Don't you know that you have to kill them to live in this world? That there is no place for desires? That you do things even if they feel horrible? Even if they feel as the worst thing to do? That there are some responsibilities that you have to follow? Okay, let me actually say that no, sometimes it isn't true, actually. What I haven't tried to mention before, the public discourse makes a horrible so sometimes at explaining that you, the final stage of any human being interdevelopment basically should be the cohesion between passion and responsibility. It shouldn't be just the overwhelming responsibility aspect or the overwhelming side of only being a responsible human being. You learn to identify your passions when you are a kid so that you know what you want. You learn how to be a responsible human being throughout your teen years so that you learn how to socially function, and it should come as a natural process of both of those things connected, that yeah, you reach adulthood as a functional person who can know what is the thing that they are passionate about. But sadly, that is not the case, yes, as it is not with many other things in our world. Like, yeah, most people should know how what are the things that are right and what are the things that are wrong to do in this world and what not. There is something here. Yeah, sometimes people don't really understand what is the point of having a passion. Why would it be at all even necessary to have a passion if you already know everything that there is to know about what you needed to do in this world? Why not just force yourself to do something instead of pursuing something that you like and whatnot? And I, my point, my posture, my notion is that, yeah, sadly, that is just a bad job at explaining properly that, yeah, growing up is also learning to reconcile what is wanted with what is needed out of oneself. To learn to know and to keep on doing something that gets to do both things at the same time. And that can, in the end, contribute to something else also. The whole aspect of what I was trying to refer to. I remember that definition. It's somewhat complicated, but at the same time, not really. Of virtues, passion, uh, the virtues, desire, and whatnot. Those things that you pursue wholeheartedly, that you can say, ah, yeah, these are actually the best to go for. Not just for myself, but for everyone else. Like, what am I even talking about? The notion of the good, you know, when you basic introduction to philosophical concepts since the beginning of time, basically, since the formal introduction of philosophy as a thing that exists, it has been an eternal discussion. What is a good thing? What is a thing that universally is beneficial for every single human being? Okay, inside of that notion of good, there is also the notion of the virtues, aspirations, and whatnot. Getting to understand what are virtues and of aspirations for every single human being so that we can try to go towards those things naturally. The whole, instead of the different philosophical systems, at this point also even political views that are expressed outwardly to the rest of the society, the whole aspect of how we as human beings should possess the capacity to naturally reach the conclusion, the logical conclusion of, okay, this is the thing that I should actually be following, this is the thing that I should have a passion for, because otherwise I would not truly find myself satisfied in any manner. Something along the lines of, for example, the game theory. Once you get to understand game theory, you get to have a different view on what is a proper thing to desire in itself, a proper passion to have, because once you can understand that not only you will exist, but also that there will be multiple, possibly infinite iterations of human beings who might as well, as much as you do right now, wish things, and that you also possess an influence on how every other iteration of that very same thing, of that very same game, gets to exist, you understand that it is necessary sometimes to align yourself with what others want. The whole aspect of I can actually find out that, or if what I want is good or not, and I can actually have a passion that works well, not just for me. It's I sort of I guess I didn't say it, and if I said it, I already forgot. Yeah, it's sadly a lie that say that no, it's no human being past, I don't know, 25 years old should have a passion at all. They should only be moved by a sense of responsibility, a call to action, and whatnot. No, that's a cynical view, actually. It's to kill the desire machine inside of of each one of us. It's just to contribute to that slow burnout that makes humans in themselves have a much less enjoyable time, basically. So yeah, that's the first question slash answer, I guess. Yeah. And I guess there is this other aspect of the difficulty of getting something that you actually like, because it's, in many cases you can say that the absence of things can point out that their very existence, something that in many cases gets utilized, for example, as a quote-unquote proof for the existence of aliens, for example, in radical theories that talk about there are conspiracy theories, that's the proper word. how if the government truly didn't have proof about the aliens, they would be willing to show that there is truly nothing that proves that they exist. Okay, if that were to be the case, in this very same aspect, then it should be pointed out that yeah, having a passion does feel good, does feel bad. That has been so far absent, I guess, yeah. And the issue is sort of what I tried to hint at that before. It's hard to actually get to have a mature understanding of what possessing a passion in itself is, because you can only construct that based on everything else that it isn't, basically, more easily. The whole presented image of, yeah, having a passion will fix your life. Sometimes it doesn't. Having a passion will make your whole existence better. Sometimes it doesn't. Some things just get to work better. Some parts of existence become far more bearable, and it's the difficulty is the promise behind the word of, yeah, it can make the act of living endurable enough. It's difficult to say that, not because it might not be true, but because many other people, in many other iterations, it has been stated that it truly isn't. That it can happen that people who were completely passionate about the stuff found out that what they were doing wasn't truly what they liked, what they want, or whatever, and that's why they ended up in the way in which they did, as in, yeah, basically taking their own life and such. The whole concept of, yeah, a passion should be what drives your life. In some cases, it can be, to some degree, a proper enough notion, but it doesn't mean that it is the only driving factor behind existence. The issue is, I guess, if you want to say it more ordinately, to be a mature person is to learn to have multiple coexisting passions. Do not exhaust yourself with just the one. Very much, as I said before, of sometimes it's about admitting that what you wanted isn't anymore what you want to do right now. What you wanted, past tense, doesn't align with what you want right now is a necessary step. Yet another complicated aspect is, yeah, you also need to learn to balance multiple desires, multiple passions. You can love to drive. You can love to work. And you can learn to balance both things at the same time. Not to give up one of them for the other. But I guess looking at even more grown-up people, quote unquote, you can both have a family and have a soul. You can both have a hobby and have a routine that you have to follow. You have things that you have to do and you have things that you want to do, and both of them can coexist. The issue is having that actually happen and having that actually be present. Because, once again, it's presented way too much as an unnecessary aspect of life. As you can suffer everything else and have this one only thing that can exist as a fuel for yourself. And everything else doesn't need to do so. it's rather an incredibly dangerous idea to have something like that be the driving factor behind any existence. Because in the end, yeah, sadly, the day that flame dies, that internal fire of passion slowly passes out, it's over, sadly. And that shouldn't be the case so much. It's good to be capable of exhausting every single fire of passion, but not to have only one, which once it is exhausted, there is nothing else. It's I sort of hinted at that before, yeah. The whole incredibly self-destructive notion of, yeah, we are talking about passions. Do you know that only once in your life you're going to be passionate about something, that everything else will be a replacement for that first original passion that you had? That the first passion that you had, that you abandoned, will never be equaled in intensity, in desire, in attraction? No, that's actually a lie. It's sadly not the case that we serve only for one thing and nothing else. And yeah, I guess. I don't know, give me a second. Let me keep thinking about this, I guess. Okay, yeah. To try to circle back to the very beginning, I guess. Where do you even start, basically? Important question. Where do you even start when you try to say, yeah, and I don't even know. Well, where are my passions? With the admission that it doesn't exist? With the desire to actually find out what could that be? The whole aspect of, yeah, opening the door to the answer and not saying, yeah, it will never happen. It's, otherwise I would unavoidably say, impossible to reach a conclusion. Many times it can very well happen that what we are most passionate about can pass us by before we can actually admit that it was something that we truly wanted to go for. And many times it can be the case that the thing which we would truly love to have to do, to go for, isn't there because we believe that it is not right for us to pursue those things. It starts with the admission that it's nice to actually want something and to understand how to do so in a healthy way. Unavoidably, it's not a bad notion that yeah, you need to be balanced and whatnot, but it doesn't mean that you can only go for things if they are good enough. It's very much in that same field of failure. It's necessary to actually understand what you don't like, what you are not really all that passionate about, to discover what you truly are made for, so to speak, you know? So, I guess, yeah, I guess that's that. I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to say. So yeah, I I feel like I'm done. Yeah, today we are done. I guess, passionately enough. So yeah, it was good enough. Ah, and in the end, I got more water. I didn't even drink a single drop here. I did drink while coming here, but not here. So anyway, point being, Gordon, that's the most important thing actually. So yeah, as always, I guess. Thank you. Thank you for the patience, for the interest, for everything. I did say thanks to say it was a very good stream. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for everything. Thanks as always to you for tuning in, for the attention, for yeah, paying attention, for everything. And as always, I don't know, remember to be happy, be responsible, and yeah, try to have some passion. It wouldn't kill you, you know? And all of that the rest stuff. Today, so far we are done. Next day, no clue whatsoever what. We will see what comes when we are there. For now, thank you, and have a good one.